Okay. So I've talked a little bit about plugins, and I talked about some SEO uh, ones that I've used, and so I want to just give you guys a quick kind of demonstration of how that works. So through a through your hosting provider or through your IT guy or web developer, or you may be savvy enough and comfortable with that you've already walked through this and done a WordPress installation. One of the great things once you get in there is that there's a tab here that says plugins. Previous to um, version 1.2 of WordPress, developers used to like write scripts and kind of hack the code apart and insert stuff pretty rudimentarily that would change things or perform these actions. Now, uh, in order to add a new function or feature, all you have to do is add a new plugin and say I wanted auto Twitter or auto tweet. So I'll search for this term that I just say, okay, something's got to be out there that's going to automatically send my tweets out. And I now have 159 options of little pieces of software that I can add in that'll do that. Um, in this listing here, this is just the search results. There's a really nice feature that has this details link. You can bring up the details of the plugin, how long ago it was updated. So it's kind of important, like if you're looking for something or want to try out a new feature for your site, it's worth noting how long ago the developer touched it. This developer hasn't touched it in 231 days and hasn't updated it. It says it's compatible up to some pretty recent versions, but it hasn't been tested with the current version of WordPress. So it's kind of in a gray area where it's worth trying, but it may not work because it hasn't been developed in almost a year. Um, so that's a nice thing. You can look and say, okay, how long ago was it updated? Is it a good piece of software? Because a plugin is just adding a little functional piece to your whole site's framework. 95% of the time, it won't break or affect the main function. So if it doesn't work, you can simply disable it, which I'll show you. But it's worth taking a look at that. So looking again at details here, this one updated a long time ago. I definitely wouldn't try that one. It was updated 1238 days ago. I haven't seen one that old in a long time. And see, it's compatible to a 2.3 version there. But it's nice because I can just, without installing or risking anything, even though there's really not a big risk, I can look at that and say, okay, do I want to try this one? So I know Auto Twitter has worked great for me, even though I see it hasn't been updated real recently. All I have to do is click install now. It just confirms, do I actually want to install this? There's a little dialog that says, okay, it downloaded it automatically, it unarchived, and it installed it, and now do I want to activate it right now? Most of the time, we're just going to go ahead and activate it, and you'll see that a plugin will usually ask you for more information, or there'll be a settings tab that you have to go in and configure some more things. So Auto Twitter has to authenticate with my Twitter account, and let's see if I'm logged in at the moment here. So I'm logged in. It's going to ask me to authenticate and allow that application to use my Twitter account, and now I'm all connected. So if I were to write a post now, a new post, it would automatically send that update right out to my Twitter feed, which for me is a big time saver because as we know, small business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are bootstrapping it, they have to be the energy, the drive behind getting things up and moving. And the more time you can save, the more effective and efficient you can be, the better off you are. So that's just one simple plugin. Um, the nice thing now is I can go back and look at all these lists of installed plugins and say, okay, you know what, I'm not using this one any longer, or it's not working the way I want it to, or anything like that. I'm just going to turn it off for now. And it's deactivated, it sits there. Nothing changes except for it's not active. So it's just a great, that's a really quick kind of rundown of how plugins are used and how easily it is to add something in, try it out, use it, and then, if you like it, you can continue to use it. Um, Eventually, as you add more and more plugins, you do have to begin to be conscious of, is this one going to conflict with the other one? If I added in 2 Twitter plugins, conceivably I could have a conflict or it wouldn't work well. But the nice thing is you can just turn them on and off and test them until you figure out what's causing an issue. themes of how the site looks, we're not going to get into extensively today, but it's the same easy manipulation, easy function to change out how the site looks. So by default, WordPress gives you this nice theme that there's a bunch of customization options where you could put your own image in as simply as how we wrote the posts. You can control all the different components of how the front side of the site is laid out. But say I just don't like that theme, I can click over here on themes, see the available options of installed themes that I have now, or I can say, you know what, I'd really like to see what else is out there. If I've had a developer develop a theme for me, I can upload it very simply, or I can search for a term of something that I might like to use. So all of these themes that I just brought up with the search term green are free for me to use. When you use these free ones, that typically in the license or what they include, you do have to leave credit to the original theme designer. But so if I really liked this green one here on the right hand side, it's just like installing the plugin. It's very simple to click, say, hey, do you really want to install this? You get another little preview of it, you click install. It downloaded it, it put the files in the right location on my web server, and now I can activate it. And it tells me that there's some more settings that I could play with and use and do some adjustment to. And now if I go to the front side of the site, they'll go, wow, okay, cool. I have this brand new, awesome looking theme. It's not the generic WordPress one. And going through and looking at a page, wow, I really like that. Or after trying a theme, I'm like, wow, I hate that. I should go back to the old theme. Like this 2010 theme, I like a little bit better than the new 2011 one. So I can say, okay, I don't like that new theme I just installed. I'm gonna deactivate it for now. And now I'm back to a theme that I'm comfortable with that I had originally. So when you're doing development or changes or anything with a site, it's nice that you can easily try a theme, turn it on and off, and you're not going to hurt anything. So we activated the more standard theme, and we're back to what I'm familiar with, what I want to work with here. So it literally takes seconds to try something out, see what it looks like, and if you don't like it, you can adjust it. So themes in kind of an installation and end user function are really similar to how plugins will work. One of the plugins that we've written here at ZigZap is a nice add-on to sites where you're trying to gain subscribers, or you're trying to add, get some more followership. One of the things that we've seen in kind of marketing research is that if you prompt people when they first come to your site to engage, to sign up or do something, you pick up anywhere from like 30 to 50% more subscribers. I've personally tested it and not just reading the data, and it's definitely true because I always get higher subscribe rates when I do that. So we have a plugin that allows you to do that, and we'll see if I'm developing Mike's site right now. We'll see if it's active here. I can show you guys what it looks like. All right, do not have it active. So that's what happens when we do these things live. So I'm going to install it right here and show you what it'd be like. So this is an example of a premium plugin where you could pay a developer to build a specific tool for your site and show you. So you would spec that out with your development team or project manager and then say, okay, here's exactly what I want this to do. It should function just like that. And then they're going to deliver to you a zip file. And you upload this zip file, and it's almost the same as just searching for a plugin and activating it. Properly written, it'll install and ask you then to activate it. And then you see I have this nice new admin item here on the left, and it gives me all the options for this little piece of software that we wrote, just to do exactly that. So now I have the option to enable or disable it. I can choose, do I want to display some message like here is my announcement, or I can simply point to a different URL. So like if I wanted to iframe a sign up form that I have with my email marketing, or I wanted to point at a specific page on my site. I have a bunch of different options to do that. I can choose the sizing of that. So since we're going to be iframing Facebook here as our example, I'll make it a little bit bigger. And then I can control how many days I store the cookie to see if this person has been to the site before and I should represent this first time visitor message, or I should, or does it need to be, a few days, whatever it is. I can control the length of how long I store that information about that person visiting the site. So it's very simple to enable something simple like this that's written as a plugin, and I will show you what it looks like when a visitor goes to your site for the first time. So let me pull this up here. So I have not visited that site in this browser yet on my computer. So now when I go here, I get this nice pop-up message that returns what the URL that I put in there. And it's that easy to add a special announcement to your site or an email subscribe list or anything like that. Just like a big site like Living Social does, or sites like that. You have the same ability to do that with just a simple little custom piece of software. And it's easy to enable and disable and do all those things with. So that's the kind of advantage you have working with this, because you can use all the out-of-the-box features that WordPress gives you, and then if you need something special, you can just write a special little piece of software for it, and it doesn't have to affect the rest of your site, and it doesn't have to be a huge undertaking.